Marty, and I help business owners go from frustration to ease when it comes to podcasting. If you're looking to boost your credibility and grow your business but feel overwhelmed by the process, I've got you covered. With over 30 years of experience in top radio markets, I know how to make your voice heard. My 7-day Podcast Pro program helps you move from scattered and unsure to confidently launching and maintaining a podcast that connects with your audience, builds your legacy. It's done with ease and minimal time. Plus, I'll share insider tips to help you rank in the top 5%.
Your body's speaking to you. If it has to kick the door down, which is put you flat on your back, it will. And that's why we're seeing such a rise in autoimmune diseases.
Has your life, your dreams been interrupted? Good news. It is possible to reinvent our lives. People are doing it every day, and some are brave enough to share the struggles, disappointments, and challenges. If you are looking for a new beginning, a do-over, or to rediscover your passion, maybe even find a new one, then grab a cup of coffee and let's talk. Interrupted, Act 2, Reinventing Your Legacy, with your host, Coach Lori.
Sonia Jenkins is a former NHS Nurse Practitioner with 45 years of service turned functional medicine certified health coach. After witnessing firsthand the limitations of conventional medicine, she embarked on a new path, one where true health isn't just about prescriptions, but about reclaiming vitality, purpose, and joy. She is the creator of the Serenity Shift. Welcome, Sonia.
Hello.
Tell us where you're coming to us from.
I am coming from Wales, which is in the UK. Everybody knows England. Wales is just to the southwest of England.
I'm so excited to have you on the show because of your Serenity program. What I got to experience with you, we were put in a kind of an experience on a webinar we were on. The way that you listened, it wasn't really about what you had to offer. It was really about being a good listener. That was so valuable to me. And part of the problem that we're seeing is people, especially women, and especially our generation, they go, go, go. They're either super moms, super whatever, and they don't stop. And then they carry all of that in their body. There's maybe even a pride about it. Well, I can do everything. When really that's not what we were created for. So I'm just going to let you tell us all about this program and how you got there.
I was a nurse practitioner in the UK NHS system. And talking about badges of honour, I was that nurse practitioner for 45 years. That wasn't my intention to go 45 years, but when you're enjoying something, it doesn't feel like work. So when I was looking to retire, I was trying to find something I could use my transferable skills with, because even though I was retiring, I knew I wasn't ready to sit in my rocking chair. I looked at health coaching. However, as with quite a few areas, not all the coaching courses were certified or registered. Having been a healthcare professional, I was very aware that I needed some sort of certification. And that's when I came across functional medicine health coaching. And I thought, what's this thing? Functional medicine. And to be able to be a functional medicine certified health coach, you had to understand the principles of functional medicine. The plan is that you would coach to the prescription. You might be wondering, what the heck is functional medicine?
Yes.
Traditional healthcare is based on treating symptoms. I found, because I've got a long-term condition myself, that each time I went to my doctor's surgery, rather than them taking away medication, they kept adding medication or increasing the dose. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, if this is supposed to be treating my condition, how comes I'm coming out with a carrier bag full of medication? I've gone from treating the symptom to functional medicine, which treats the root cause. And if you treat the root cause, the symptoms take care of themselves. That was such a revelation to me. Because I was still in my NHS job, I took the liberty of trying out what I was learning on my patients. My mind was just blown. And it's really funny because I think people are ripe for looking at another way. And what is really interesting to me now that I've found that I've gone from treating symptoms to root cause, and I'm down another rabbit hole at the moment, which is looking at things at the cellular level, the chemical level. And believe it or not, our food affects our chemistry. The other thing I noted is the rise in overwhelm. Yes, we know since COVID, again, it has just gone absolutely wild. However, I know I wasn't aware how much stress also influences our risk of developing long-term conditions. Okay, if there is a long-term condition in your family, then doesn't matter what you do, it's in your genes. Further along, you're going to get this condition. No. Functional medicine taught me that long-term condition, be it diabetes, heart disease, cancer, is actually the gun. How you manage your lifestyle, diet, exercise, sleep, that is what influences, that's what pulls the trigger. What we should be doing is looking at taking that information, as our crystal ball, so that we know what our future could be. At the age of 41, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, type 1 diabetes. I couldn't get my head around it because I had done athletics, I'd exercise, 6 days a week. I was a sticking set. So I couldn't understand how I developed type 1 diabetes. I will put the caveat in that I did have gestational diabetes when I had my daughter. So when I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, in my shock state, I said to the consultant, who was a professor, "Excuse me, babes, don't you mean I'm type 2? And he just smiled back and he said, "Sorry, babes, you're type 1. But he was really good. He explained to me that I had most probably had the diabetes for a good 10 to 15 years before it showed up. And I'm like, really? However, when I learned about the principles of functional medicine, in functional medicine, their medical history is basically a timeline. And when I did my own timeline, I was like a textbook. It showed when I first was a nurse, I was inadvertently practicing intermittent fasting because I was on the ward. I was so busy, didn't have time to eat. You just grab in a coffee. And then at the end of the day, I'd be thinking, I'm a bit hungry. Why am I hungry? Oh my goodness, I haven't eaten. And the other thing, because I was an athlete, training at a higher level, I was controlling my blood sugar with intermittent fasting and exercise before I knew what they were. The reason the diabetes showed up coincided with I had got divorced. I was bringing up my daughter on my own. I was that sandwich generation because I also had parents who were not in great health. Even though I'm one of 4, I was the oldest, I was the girl, I was the nurse. So it's like, you just take that in your stride. I didn't feel stressed, overwhelmed or anything. You just put one foot in front of the other and you just do what you have to do. It wasn't until both my parents have now passed away. However, I did feel honoured to be able to care for them to have, I won't say the pleasure of me looking after them, but for them to be cared for in their home by me and their wishes were taken into consideration. Roll on another few years. I got my qualification as the health coach. After that, I thought, oh, I haven't got a program. What am I going to do? I joined an accelerator course and they gave you a done for you. But me being me, I had to experience it. I can't ask people to do something I haven't done. They said, oh, yeah, but you got diabetes. Only do it for 2 weeks. And I thought, okay, we'll see. And please speak to your GP. Speak to my GP. I'm the expert in our surgery for diabetes. I said, yeah, fine. And I was told, oh, just do it for 2 weeks so you experience it. So I did it for 2 weeks. Oh my goodness, I felt brilliant. To the point I said, can I complete the whole program? And they said, yeah, if you want to. So I completed the program, which is what my program is adapted from, because there were bits I didn't quite like. The results were, as we mentioned, the Serenity program at the beginning. So the Serenity ritual is actually the first week of the program. Sleeping like a baby, brain fog gone, full of energy. I didn't even know I had brain fog until it lifted. The other thing, and this was the thing that, again, blew my mind. So you must wonder what sort of world I'm living in, because my mind's always been blown. But this was excellent. My insulin reduced it by 60%. I was put on other tablets because I was diabetic as prevention.
She's doing air quotes.
So I was put on preventative medication for blood pressure and cholesterol. They went, because I'm a cheeky little madam. I went to my GP and said, can you do me a favour? Can you take my bloods? I'm joining a program and I just want to have a baseline and after. And they did. So I had my baseline. When I went back 3 months later and they're going, what's going on? You haven't ordered your tablets. You haven't had your supply of insulin for 2 months and your blood pressure's great. What's going on? So I explained about this program, and the biggest thing for me, I know my health is important. I had a waist for the first time in my life. Because I'm tall and slim, people automatically thought I was healthy. And the other thing we found by doing the program, I didn't realize I had insulin resistance, because that is not talked about in people with type 1 diabetes. Type 2, yeah, that's why you develop it. The waist was me reversing my insulin resistance. How's that for a byproduct? Oh, and I forgot about the 20k I lost as well in weight. So you release fat, so you change your shape, because, as we know, the adipose fat, the spare tire, is all around our middle. And that's our body storing that sugar, the insulin, can't get into any more cells. That's why I developed this program, because I feel it would be rude not to share it.
I love that. And what I keep hearing is the things that we're maybe suffering from, there's some sort of disconnect. Like when we say stress, it's like, I'm not stressed, I can deal with it. And I work with people coming off drugs and alcohol. And there's a point in that early recovery where they're like, I can handle it. Like they don't think they need to come off. And I think what you're doing is so incredible. It's kind of the way I've always believed. But I wonder if your biggest challenge is helping us understand not only that there's something in our way, but that there is this beautiful other side that you've got to experience.
And I totally go with you with that, because I went into the program no expectations at all. It could have been just a tick box, but I wanted to experience it. Because we do not understand, we weren't built to deal with stress 24/7. Stress is a normal reaction. What I say to people, we get told everything in moderation. But if we are constantly under stress, we lose our ability to recognize it. It becomes a part of life. All you hear is, maybe stress. It's normal. Yeah, it's not. It is a over use of our stress mechanism. And that stress, even though not everybody has it bubbling, it's under the surface. Because it is continuous, if you think of, say, a dripping tap, oh, I haven't got time to deal with that now, I'll put a bowl under it, and you leave it, it's not causing you any trouble, and then one day that bowl overflows and you flooded your kitchen. That's how stress is. So you get chronic stress, and that chronic reaction affects every organ of your body, causing the inflammation. With respect, sometimes you will see it in people's faces because they're puffy. Their ankles are puffy. They got aching joints. Oh, it's because I'm aging. No, it's you do not recognize your stress. And then that leads to chronic inflammation. And it's that chronic inflammation which then develops into the long-term condition which you've been brewing because it runs in your family.
This is so great and so good, because especially I'm finding, because I work with women my age, when they are starting to kind of let go of all the stuff, it's very scary. And sometimes that's where they kind of get stuck and shut down. And my big thing is, it's never too late to have a podcast, start a business, do what you love. But we get to this place where we're so tired, it's hard to recognize it as stress, or we recognize it as stress, but we're like, we can deal with stress. It's the younger generation. They're not coping. They're like, I'm so stressed out. There's so much more to it. What I'm curious about is, you said you might be puffy, you might have aching joints. What are some of the symptoms? If we're not willing to say, I've been stressed running a business or working for 24 years, what is it that I might be able to recognize that, oh, maybe I am?
This is my picture in my head. You're successful, you got all the trappings, you're screaming at the kids every morning to get out of the house. You're frustrated, you've got no energy, and you are not sleeping. It doesn't matter how much sleep you have, you're not waking up refreshed. You also have the other side where we hear, I only need 5 hours. Actually, if you're only having 5 hours, you're sleep deprived. It does make me smile when people say, yes, I can catch up on the weekend. You never catch it up. You never catch it up. And those are things that are thought of. Oh, yeah, well, I don't sleep well, because as you get older, you don't need so much sleep. And the other thing we might notice is our relationships are suffering. Our work relationships, our personal relationships, our relationships with our kids. If you are tired and you just want 5 minutes to yourself, and you've got, it feels like needy people, but they're just asking you a question, you find yourself snapping, and then they don't want to speak to you. One of the sad things I find, that badge of honor of the stress, which I call toxic resilience, is depending, especially if you're in the corporate world, you don't share that you are having those issues because it's seen as weakness. And depending where you are on the continuum, if you've burnt out, you're telling everyone that you were stressed. But until you get to that point where you are flat on your back, you don't recognize it. And when I was working with students, the thing that did, again, I couldn't get my head around is these youngsters were coming to university already on antidepressants or anti-anxiety medicine. I'm saying, why do people don't want to feel as well? That's my other big thing. Why are we dumbing out our feelings? Because if you push down your feelings, how are you going to recognize when your body is trying to speak to you? And one of the things that I spend so much of my time repeating, your body does its best. And the first thing it does is knocks the door. How people might interpret this, and I found people who got tension headaches, people who got earaches, women keep getting thrush. or urinary tract infections. As I say, that is your Achilles heel. And you might have, say, one a year, and then, hang on, they're increasing. So knocking on the door first, knocking a bit harder, and then it come to the point where they're having antibiotic after antibiotic, which does happen in doctors' surgeries if you are not seeing the same person all the time and people aren't reviewing your notes. And what I found was when I spoke to people and explained, hang on, your body's speaking to you. If it has to kick the door down, which is put you flat on your back, it will. And that's why we're seeing such a rise in autoimmune diseases.
The question, the challenge is, what is your body telling you right now? What are you ignoring to get the thing done? Because especially, I believe, as women, we will put ourselves on the back burner because we'll care for our family. It's not that we're like, oh, you're so wonderful. It's just what we do. We take care of everything. Being in tune, and you talked about intuition. That's why I'm so enthralled with your program, because I feel like if people got a quick program and a quick result and they could feel different, they might say, I'm worth it, or this is good and I can do more good when I'm feeling good.
Like in the UK, with our stiff upper lips, girls are thought of to be emotional and wishy-washy. And we do talk. But as time goes on, we stop talking because we look around and compare ourselves with other people, and we believe the rubbish of multitasking. Once I learned multitasking was just an advertising thing for me to do the work of 3 people, it just freed me. It's like I could take off my Superman cape or Wonder Woman cape because I wasn't subscribing to that. And this thing about you can have it all. You have all those balls in the air, you can only juggle them for so long and then they come crashing down. I think we also have to be aware of the example we're setting to the next generation. Like, I am very aware that I am the role model for my daughter. I'm lucky. I say I'm lucky. I only have one. I don't know how people cope with more because I can keep an eye on her reactions and be there and explain what's going on. However, it does bother me how we don't sit with our emotions. My favorite saying, and my friends always come back to me because they'll say, oh, I did so and so. I said, did you combust? And I go, no. Did you combust the last time? No. So sit with those emotions so you know what you're feeling and you can tell the difference. Because if you've gone through that feeling before and you did not combust, you can do it again. And it's like flexing that muscle. So it's not an issue.
I think what I hear is women think not checking your emotions is strength, but really what I've found is the women that are willing to take a look, do the work, and sit in those emotions are the ones that I see peace on their face, joy in their life, and their experience of freedom they never knew.
Yes, initially it is messy. Of course, initially it is messy. I look at, you go through puberty, messy emotions. You go through the menopause. Those emotions you didn't deal with in your puberty, they come back and see you in the menopause. It's like, come on, got a bit of life experience behind you now. Please deal with them now.
That is so good. Sonia, this has been so brilliant, and I love what you do. If somebody would like to work with you, how do they reach you?
On www.fmhc.uk. FMNC stands for Functional Health Coach, Functional Medicine Health Coach. I am also on LinkedIn and Sonia Jenkins on Instagram and Facebook.
You've given us so much wisdom. What is it, before we go, that you really want us to know?
I am a great believer about living by example. I'm a product of what I have experienced. Because I'm so proud of it, I have retired from the NHS. I am 64 years old. I am now doing what I want to do. I've got rid of the shackles of you've got to bring up your family, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Now I look at it as my time. I have earned my stripes, and you can too.
That's beautiful. Sonia, thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. I have had a blast.
If you love this podcast, here's a big ask. Will you share with your friends and family, subscribe, give us a review, and a 5-star rating so that others looking to reinvent their lives will be able to get the help they're looking for? Thank you in advance.
Are you ready to turn your podcast idea into a reality? All you need is 7 days with my 7-day podcast launch challenge. In just 1 week, we'll go from overwhelm to launching with clarity, confidence, and a growth plan. Every day we tackle key tasks, helping you get it into a rhythm so that easily, weekly, you can put out a quality podcast in minimal time. Plus, you'll get personalized support and join a community to keep you on track. Are you ready to launch and start growing today?